All right, aloha everybody. My name is Kaiola Service or Kai Service, and I want to welcome you to the Fearless Eye Report. Today we got a special guest on. It's Dahboo7.
How
He's
you doing?
Yeah, how you doing, man? I refer to you when I tell people about you. You're kind of like a guerrilla journalist. You're kind of just out there in the trenches, and you're bringing out the truth to everyone, and it's just awesome, dude.
Thank you. I mean, that's what we do, man.
Yep. So how are you doing today? And with all the recent stuff, I saw you posted up a video of a Russian river turning red today and stuff.
Yeah, and in it, when I come across stories like that, it's important that people actually watch the videos, because in it, I explain the cause of it, and it's from ore that was released from a plant upstream, and when ore comes in contact with water, it gives it that reddish tint, and that's known, but we've been seeing this a lot more across the globe is the thing with me.
Right.
No matter the excuse, whether it's algae booms or if it's this or that, been seeing it more and more, and I like to just keep track of it, and because you never know, is the Mississippi or Ohio one day going to be looking like this?
Right. I mean, it happened in Colorado. It turned orange, and it was EPP or EPA.
Right, and with all these spills, and you've got the pipeline they're trying to put in now, and the protests with the Indians going on up there. That's something I'd love to be covering, but
yeah, that would be intense.
I can't make it up there. But yeah, there's always something going on.
Yeah, I mean, like recently, to get into the first question, is like the globalist Babylon Titan George Soros got hacked, and when I saw that, I was like, oh man, this is going to be probably one of the juiciest events to happen in a long time, and I was sure right, because it links him to almost everything that's going on, and it just crushes him and his reputation.
Yeah,
and
but the mainstream didn't want to pick up and run with it. Only certain other alternative branches was really putting it out there.
Yeah,
the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Clinton's Telecommunications Act is definitely doing its work, now when it's really needed, because it sure is propping her up, weakening the Bernie style. But so with all that happening, and with the more Hillary leaks coming out, what do you sense is on the way in the next few months?
I don't have a crystal ball, but
right,
I've always seen 2016 into 2017, for whatever reason, always being critical moments in time. I mean, back even before 2012, the Mayan stuff was going off. I was never one to buy into that, but even back then, I always seen this window in time, and a lot of what brought me to that was alignments and constellation things that were going on that I was studying at the time. That brought me to that conclusion, and here we are. We're living in it. We're actually here now, and day by day, step by step, we're moving closer to a big event here in this country, the election. And with Pac, Pac woke me up, and
right.
How Pac woke me up was through a lot of ways, but primarily right when he exited the game, he left Makaveli, and I knew in the pit of my stomach there was something to it, because listen, I wasn't just your average Pac fan. I was the one that was sat in my car by myself listening to every single breath, every word, everything, because I knew they hit stuff.
Right.
And it's there. It's all over the place. It's laced all over. And what they were hiding was saying that he was alive, left and right. Even on Makaveli, and the one where they say your checks in inmate 213415569. When that starts, you can hear two voices say. One says, "Can you see him?" The other one says, "I can see him." And Pac says, plain as day, "I'm alive."
Wow.
Just like it's right there.
Right.
And that ties in with the whole "Shook Shot Me" embedded into the music. It also, "Are You Still Down?" That was right after he exited. It showed him landing in a helicopter in Ruckus, Mexico, which was Shakur backwards. And I put out that video on Makaveli Lives Best Proof. He's Alive 2015. And in it, I showed a clip of that video, and I believe it's him laying in the bed there. It's a quick pan, but it looks dead on him. And all these other signs, worldwide, I saw him, gangsters, clap your hands. It was like that. At the end of that, they flash. And why would they put a fake there? It looks to be Pac sitting right there with a palm tree going right across his face, and he's doing West Side. Right. And it's like, why would they be doing this against that's totally against what they supposed to stand for, being the realist and everything else. But I look at the bigger picture. I look at Big Psych. I look at his comments. I look at Pac's own mother's comments.
Right.
I look at guys getting caught like Tretch off camera when they think the camera sat down on the ground. They finally loosen up and they say, "Yeah, last I seen Cuba."
Last I heard, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, and like, then at their concerts are like, we know where Pac is, but we can't tell you because the feds is watching. I mean, why would all these different cats and people be doing that and saying this stuff if it wasn't really true on the back end?
Right.
It just adds credence to it. And you know what's crazy is Pac's aunt is the most wanted woman in the world. She is the number one wanted woman on the FBI's most wanted list, and she's in Cuba.
Yeah.
And where better to be hiding than with her? And that's my belief.
Right. I mean, go ahead.
I just with Pac left that Makaveli, and when I saw Makaveli, it said the Don Illuminati. And when I seen that, I said, "What the hell does this mean? The Don of what?" I dug into the meaning of Illuminati, and when I did, I immediately knew that it was to kill this Illuminati that I was seeing popping up on the screen in front of me. And then it began. It began. Who the hell is this? What is this? Then the game began. Then I started to see everything, and it led me on the mission to where I sit today, of seeing the atrocities of what they're doing, playing the game, controlling both sides of the wars, this illusion of choice. Right. I mean, it goes back a long way, and it's all a cult, and they're dealing with black magic in Hollywood, in the music industry, you know, and that's the way it is. He knew this, he figured it out, and I truly believe that they were the ones that were trying to kill him the first time he was shot in New York, and he knew it. That's when he got it together.
Right.
And he did what he did in Makaveli because he knew it was either he was going to be dead or in jail. If he stayed on that path. So I really think that what he did, I mean, whether he pulled it off fully or not, it was the best option. And to sit back and be able to stack all your money tax-free because you're supposed to be dead and everything else, monopolize on it. He even said that he peeped a weakness in the rap game, and so did. And all these things come back. He could have just been, his foundation's just been sitting back stacking chips. And his mom was in control of it, but now she's gone. But it leads me to wonder, you know, at what point, I put myself in Pac's shoes. I try to, like, if I'm sitting there and I'm hiding out and I know I've got all this influence and power and I'm just getting older by the day myself, there has to be a window in time where I'm going to make a move. But he has to be hip to everything else. He has to know they're tracking phone calls and all the stuff, all communications. I mean, when they're doing that, it makes it hard to be able to plan and talk with other people. You literally have to have couriers. You have to have individuals you talk to in person with no cell phones around or anything. They can relay information, right, and then in person relay that information back to the United States. And they have nothing on them, even if they're stopped by the feds. It's all in their mind. Exactly. You know? So,
and he said, before I flee computer trips, I got to deal with brothers flipping. And that spoke to me. I was like, that means that he knows the tech is getting faster, and he knows that he needs to cut out the people that'll sell him out for any amount of cash. Like,
oh yeah, that's the truth. That's a motto everyone should live by. There is knowing that,
right? That
there's snakes in the grass all over, and I think with Pac, he was just he plotted it, he made it out, and my thing with the whole thing with Pac is you never know in this instance if they've killed him since. You know, if they've taken him out, assassinated him at any given time, I'd like to think that some of the other cats out there in the back channels, there would be the word would leak out somehow, some way, and get out that. And then who knows? Then maybe a whole story of Makaveli will come unraveled. Then that the truth of what everybody knew, that he did fake his death and all this, and where he was hiding and all this crazy stuff. But you know, the influence Pac has is something that very few men on this planet has. He's reached people around the globe, and to be honest, he is a massive voice. I mean, could you imagine how many people would rally around this man if he came back out? But it couldn't be for nothing. It would have to be for everything.
Right. I think that's why he talked a lot about timing and how it needed to be at the exact point, probably when they're weakest, but also before they give themselves more strength, which I kind of see is what we're coming to right now.
And even if he wasn't successful in all this, damn it, say he's dead, which would piss me off severely.
Right.
But say he is. He left a blueprint. Someone's got to pick it up. We're sitting here talking about it. Maybe somebody listening out there pick it up. There's a blueprint that he left, and really, the key here is the influence. It's being able to reach people. That's what they hate. That's why I think they wanted to eliminate him. He's seen that it was evil. That's why he's one of the only artists to ever drop on the face of his album to kill this Illuminati.
Right. It was a huge statement. And it went over the majority of people's heads, just right over.
It did. And I can't stress enough how important it is. And there's so many, you have different people come through. There's different levels of the awakening. And I can understand people questioning things through and through, but you're going to deal with disinfo and all this other stuff along the way in terms of what Illuminati is and stands for. I'm here to tell you that it stands for the secret elite system that is running things behind the scene, pulling all the strings, that is tied through Soros, that is tied through all these fake Khazarians that are controlling this on Jesuit command, and that's what no one else will talk about. These are the ones that took control of Hollywood. These are the ones that took control of the music industry. These are the ones that sacrifice through occult magic. And it's crazy because in getting to know people personally and dealing with music throughout the years, I've come to hear from the horse's mouths, people directly tied in, especially when it comes to like Def Jam, that they'll take the albums before they push them out, and they will charge them under the light of the full moon. They were doing this in Atlanta. And that shows how deep the occult is into this, because it's into channeling energies.
Right.
And here recently, I've been exposing and showing where all this links back to in the magic side of it. We talk about the Masons, but the Masons are just kind of an offshoot form. To me, it's part of the illusion. The Masons, yes, they deal with building and all that other stuff, but they're actually magicians. Because even the term magi,
right,
for magic, it all is the same. And how this is because what is unique about this, and even Nas and Damian Marley in their song, Patience, he says Solomonic lineage and the beast, and he speaks of it. And I kept digging and digging and digging, and then once you read the Testament of Solomon, which they purposely left out of your Bible, and you'll understand why as soon as you read it, you'll see that Solomon explains how he was controlling spirits, and the angel that gave it to him, this ring, was the archangel Michael, the same one out of Revelation that cast the dragon down. He was able to control spirits. You have to understand this. And he called forth all these different spirits, the 72 angels and demons of the Goetia. And he was able to turn metals into gold. Well, he called forth all these angels, including one called Beelzebub. Same Beelzebub mentioned in the Bible. And it's very curious because Beelzebub states to him that he is the last of his kind here on earth, and he is the one that has control over all the rest of these demons in the hierarchy, in the different levels that go forth. So Solomon did not use them in a wicked way. He put them to work making hemp, cutting stone, and doing all this other stuff to build that temple that sits in Israel that 3 different religions worship. That the temple dome sits on top of it. The Jews are on the Wailing Wall on the side. And they go on in this. One spirit states that one will come that will be crucified on the cross and killed by the Jews. And then they go on to speak how they're going to hold up one big, huge stone at the corner of this temple. And there's still a corner standing. And Solomon stated when that falls, the end of the world shall come. But there's still that corner sitting there standing to this day. Wow. So that was out of his own prophecy. So after digging in this, what's important about this is if you're watching the History Channel and you hear the stories of the Knights Templar and all this stuff, they went and they dug at Solomon's temple and they found the chalice of Christ, this chalice that had Christ's blood in it and all this. It's a lie. I'm going to tell you it's a lie. What they found was the Ring of Solomon. And what they found was his magic spells. And this is why everywhere they went, they were treated like kings. They were lavished. And this is the knowledge and the power that was taken from there and continues to this day. They are taking the power that Solomon had, and Solomon was not using it for bad. God gave him a gift and a power to communicate with spirits. But he didn't use them for his own good and make them go kill people, you see?
Right.
The one time he did slip up, God took it from him and made him walk barren in the desert, and he almost died. Until he got it, he learned his lesson, he got it all back. See, the stories, these are the stories they leave out of your Bible that are so important. But see, there's a reason for all this, and why the Jesuits run the Catholic Church and the whole pedophile rings that are inside. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why Pope Benedict looks like that evil SOB off of Star Wars, because he is that evil SOB off of Star Wars. He is the embodiment of it. And not only do you have the Jesuit Pope now, you have the Black Pope behind them that run everything from behind the scenes. And these guys are occultic with magic. The whole Lord of the Rings thing is based on Solomon's ring. It is hidden in plain sight. Now, these are the secrets that are kept throughout the ranks of Masonry. These are the secrets that are kept by the elites, all their groups, the Eastern Star, through Hollywood, the music industry, all of it. You see, and they throw and they flash their hand sides, but they don't. Most of them don't even know the half of it. They're only enlightened so much along the way. They're led by the nose. And it's only till you get to the top, you literally have to get the tap on the shoulder, and you have to have been bent over and sacrificed so many times and accepted before you're finally told that, well, this light bearer you guys have been worshiping is called Lucifer. And by then, they're fully accepting of it. But see, they're taught all this other stuff that they keep from the rest of the public. Because if it was out there, it would show. Even with Moses, the hidden books they pulled out. When Joshua was doing battle against Amalek, Moses was raising his arms on the mountainside. Every time he dropped them down, Joshua would start to get beat. Every time he lifted them, he would win. Aaron and another person had to hold his arms up. When they held his arms up, Joshua finally won and decimated the enemy, and it was all done through magic. The same way he parted the Red Sea. And what's interesting is all that's talked about, too, in this Testament of Solomon. They even talk about the priest of Moloch at the end, which shows you that Solomon knew there were evil individuals here. Mm-hmm. And that same lineage is what is in power right now. That is the true religion of your George Soros, of your Rupert Murdoch. These, even some of the Zionist regime in Israel, they are not of Jews. They hijacked it, just as Obama's not a Christian nor a Muslim, and you should all know it. They are of a different religion. They know this. You might as well say there are witches.
Yeah, witches and warlocks.
Witches and warlocks, and this is very real. And when you have people trapped in a trance and you lower the frequency of their music and you beat them down with metals and fluorides and everything else, you control them in their vibration.
Exactly.
You see? And they don't want you to ascend off this plane. And that's the key. And this is the key that's overlooked and never talked about. The secrets of Osiris in the history, the Emerald Tablets. What was so key about Osiris? He lived thousands of years back then, but he achieved the next peak, fourth density. He was able to see into the next dimension of consciousness, but it took him all that time. Then came one individual, Yeshua, Jesus, that did it. And see, they say, you know, he died on the cross. They talk about all these other things, but what they don't talk about, because they don't want people to get it, is he achieved this Christ consciousness. You see, this an understanding. And he did it in 30 some odd years here on this planet.
Right.
He did it in one little lifetime. It was achievable. That was the magic. That was the example he set, that you can all do it. And it was through love and vibration of good energy. That is the key. It truly is the key.
Yep. And like being positive, and when people think about being positive, is they think it means to ignore negativity. That's not what it means. To be positive means to acknowledge negativity and then overcome it. That's how you progress.
The energy just behind thoughts can be explosive and verbiate energy out for miles. You know, your thought and the law of attraction is very real. These are also things they know out here.
Yep.
And that they work on. But once you get into the crosshairs of these individuals, they can use this stuff against you. And I think that's what you see throughout the industry. I think it was used against Pac. Guys that wake up to this and don't want to be a part of it, they're persecuted. You know? And others continue to play the game. And, yeah, I mean, as far as Pac coming back, and the timing of it, like you said, timing is everything. And, you know, you could only hope. And I would like to think, because there was mysterious circumstances around Gaddafi, too, just missing. And then there was references to Pac and Yak both being together. That it almost seemed like to me anyway that he exited quickly right after Pac. And it was just, it seemed, now when I look back at all of it, it just seems so obvious. But if I know this, the enemy has to know this. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, they. I forget what year it was. I think it might have been 2012. Obama came on. I think it was at some dinner, and he goes, "I'm focused on more important things, like where are Biggie and Tupac?" And those are specific words, you know. It's, and I mean, people have put together videos showing that Biggie did it too, because he has that one clip where he says, you know, me and Pac realized that we could start a war. And I think in them realizing that kind of started the whole thing, because I mean, so much of it seems fake. Like the beef with Biggie, it seems fake. It seems staged.
Well, it was a blown up thing. It wasn't, you know, when Pac was in jail, they sent in a snitch, and this is now known and out, in a cell that was feeding him information, saying that he knew this and that, and he was filling Pac's head that this whole hit came from Puffy and Biggie and all this other stuff, and filled his head with it. And he kind of sort of bought into it at first, but then was like, no, this isn't the way that it's going. And this is the problem. All these guys, even right now, Pac, these other guys, they're being listened to. They're being tracked. As soon as they make one little inkling of a notion that they woke up and they figured it out, red flags are flying everywhere. You cannot let this man go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right?
He's that dangerous. I mean, if he was to ever show back up for even 5 minutes and then they gunned him down, just what he was to say within 5 minutes would be key. Everything that he could get out, because it would wake up a whole lot, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, him showing back up would be known worldwide. It'd be the biggest story, plastered everywhere for no matter what was going on.
Everywhere.
But I don't think they'll never let that happen. They control the mainstream media. They control all that. It would show a level of deception that's going on. It would show an underground movement on the rise. like you've never seen. And there's people out there that are ready, but to me, we just got to keep on waking people up. And that's what I do on a daily basis. Just keep on trying to fight the good fight,
Right.
and waking people up to what's going on.
I totally agree. Death by 1,000 cuts, you know.
Now, he woke me up to it. I feel like I got to carry the torch and pass it off to someone else. At least, like, keep the truth going.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like how you said when you first saw the 7 Day Theory, there's a pit in your stomach that it wasn't just an album. It was really something more there. There's a lot hidden beneath the surface.
Yeah, and still to this day, I always thought that there was something hidden within the handprint there. I feel like there's writing or a code or there's something there that's always been there.
Yeah.
And he says exit Tupac, enter Makaveli. How more clear can that get? And what Makaveli was, faked his death and everything else. I mean, it was a bold, F you, I'm out.
Right.
Like,
and in the book, it actually says that you need to invoke the spirits of two animals, which is the lion and the fox, because the lion can scare away enemies, but the fox can get out of traps. And what I noticed after I found that out is that, 20 years ago,
out of what, the Prince?
Out of the Makaveli book.
Yeah, well, there's two, but the main one I think referencing is the Prince.
Oh, okay.
That's the main one.
Yeah,
and I think I know what you're talking about there.
And when I noticed that, I was like, that's interesting because the night he went, he had a bright orange shirt on, and he was at the MGM Grand, which is the lion. And I think that he kind of knew that.
Fox.
Yeah, I think he kind of knew that he put the orange on because he knew that he was going to disappear that night.
Yeah, that was so staged, even down to the woman admitting right there that they took him out of there in a helicopter, and then the whole official story saying that he left in an ambulance, and then none of that matching. Right. There were so many holes in the game. And I know in front of public official cameras, I've seen people, say R.I.P., this and that. But on other accounts and other interviews, all these same people, not a damn one of them, like when Big Sykes sitting there asked about Pac, is he really dead or is he alive? He's sitting there smiling the whole time. He's like, man, because we don't die, we multiply.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dude, come on. You see what I'm saying? Like, all of them or give you an answer like that. And it's like,
even his mom. His mom had an interview where she said, well, I'm very lucky because of mothers who have lost their sons, I still get to see mine smile. And I was taken back. I was like, you get to see your son smile? Like, that's...
If you go back and look at the whole film of Resurrection that came out 7 years after he left, On the Money. I mean, come on now. Mm-hmm. The whole film put out on Pac was in theaters, everything else. He moderated the damn video.
Right.
He did. And even in the end, he's like, damn, then I got shot. And then he starts talking about it and he looked back on his life and then it goes up into the clouds. I'm like, hold on. Like, where did they get these words from? They couldn't have plucked them out of some song somewhere.
Right.
Or something like this. This is bullshit. Yeah. This dude did this. He said this. He narrated this to the and all the way word for word to the end. And when I watched it in theater, I was blown away. I was sitting there, I'm like, y'all can't see that this guy just did all that? Like, oh man, like he pulled it off in my opinion. But the biggest question is, and always will be, is if they kill someone in this situation, will you ever know? Will you truly ever know?
Right.
Would they even want the cat out the bag, or this and that? I mean, look what they're drone striking cats across the globe. If they're on top of his aunts on top of the terror watch list, and he would be right there too as a wanted man for faking his death and all this other stuff, then dude, what would stop them from trying to do a drone strike on them? I mean, that's the type of environment you're living in if you are Makaveli right now.
Exactly.
You literally have to be underground. You have to be watching everything. Like I said, about communication. You have to have people that you can trust. It gets deep. You really have to be connected to the underground, and we know Pac was, connected right there with the Panthers, and there was Mom and the whole movement to begin with.
Yeah. I think, for, like, after he died, like, maybe, like, 99, I started getting into it, and then I kind of just fell back asleep. And I think what really woke me back up to the Pac stuff, even after the Resurrection movie, was Putin's aide dropping his name when Obama put the sanctions on him.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah, and then I was just reading the article, and what he said, and they're like, "Oh, we only care about Tupac. That's all we care. We don't care about America." I was like, "You only care about Tupac?"
What made that? Why would they say that?
Right.
It's like, dude, it makes you wonder. I mean, it's all these things like that keep feeding into it. That just, if a man was really dead and gone, like Pimp C or something like that, or someone else that we've known that's died in the game. Mm-hmm. And I know there's potential questions there, but Pac left a stamp of Makaveli, and if anyone was to have done it and tried to pull it off, it was this man. I pray he was successful, but at the same time, I don't give up faith. Anything's possible out there, but I know the odds are stacked against him. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he ever heard my voice out there. We're here. We're here to do what we got to do to help, to get the message out. Regardless, they're going to come and kill me anyway. It's what I do.
Right.
But listen, I don't want to be one of them people that die, and we're all sitting there on the other side thinking, damn it, man, we should have done more. Mm-hmm. We should have done more. I don't want to be that person. We're going all out. And it would definitely change things if Pac came out of the shadows. Be a unique time in history. I don't know what they could do to stop it. And to me, maybe the time he needs to rise is right when they really do send things into chaos. Because there's going to have to be some form of a leadership for people to rally around.
Right. I mean, look at the amount of people rallying for Black Lives Matter. That's a lot of energy right there.
But then they try to pull and use even Asada and all this other stuff, but that's not with approval from Asada. No. She has never came out and gave it approval of any of that, because the reality is the same federal government that's got her listed on, that's ran by George Soros, that runs Black Lives Matter, is the same ones that want her dead. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's all they're doing is trying to steal that rebel look, that just like Pac, you know what I'm saying? Steal that rebel look and try to throw it in there. And use it, and these they won't stop, and that's why we can't stop neither. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a gem dropped here soon from somebody that'll let us know. Like I said, DJ King Assassin and Mo Preem, Pac's brother, they've been on a mission down in Cuba. They've been filming, doing all this stuff. And I've been asking them, what's up? And like, dude, we've got a huge film coming out on Pac, on Makaveli. And we've been down Cuba and all this other stuff. And I'm like, man. And then, he said September. And I just been kind of patiently waiting for them to drop what they've got and to see what's in it and what's hidden in there, So that's the next big thing I've got my eyes on in terms of that, because you got Pac's brother and DJ King Assassin that worked with him and everything else, involved in this. And,
right. I mean,
like I said, none of us are promised tomorrow, and we're all getting older by the day. Mm-hmm. So, at some point, you got to make moves, man. That's how I feel. If I was in this position in my mid-40s, whatever, where Pac's at, and I'm Pac, and I'd be looking at the climate, I'd seriously be thinking at some point it's time to make moves.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, like how you said, you put yourself in his shoes, and it helps you try and gather the reality of his situation and what he would have to do to survive each and every day.
Right.
And it's overwhelming.
Getting drone strikes dropped on you here and there. But see, they're not bombing like that in Cuba, or it'd be all over the place unless things are happening. And once again, control the mainstream media, you'd never know.
Right.
So, really, I'd love to get to Cuba. It's on my list. I don't even have a passport, but if I can make it happen and get to Cuba, I would definitely be going on all the information I could gather. And I really want to see this film and take tidbits, whatever I can gain from it, and anyone else, because somewhere on that island, lies some answers. I'll tell you that. And if all else, Asada's sitting there breathing. We know she's there.
Right.
To get a hold of her and get an interview
Man.
and anything like that would be huge too.
Oh, that'd be real big. Couldn't even imagine.
So,
yeah. But anyway, since pretty much covered all that, I did wanted to ask because we covered influence and underground movement, and we can kind of see that happening with Trump right now. I mean, the media's extremely against him. Every turn, they're trying to cut him down. They're lying about his stances on stuff, and I just want to know, like, do you think he is genuine? Do you think he is really the manifestation?
They're propping up a civil war. He's not genuine.
You don't think so?
And I hate to break people's hearts out there, but listen, right. He has to look good.
Right.
For this to work, he has to look good. He has to say the right things. He has to promise to take away Obamacare, which is attractive. I'm not going to lie about any of the things that he's saying that's attractive. Mm-hmm. You can't argue with it. And that's part of the ploy. It's what I call the illusion of choice. Look, I've watched them do this election after election after election after election.
Right.
It's so rigged. And look, he's coming out making bold statements saying the system's rigged. And now he's got generals shifting on his side. A part of me says yes, he is. He is of a different group, but it's still of the 1%, folks. He is of the 1%. This is what you cannot forget. And listen. They would never in a million years let anyone even get on stage or get the camera time or even talk about them or mention their name or nothing. Nothing. Mm-hmm. If they were not a part of this establishment. If they were not going to go along. And they said this, they primed it with him with the TV series for years and warmed people up to him and everything else. And there's people out there that are going to love and hate everybody. But what he's saying, definitely compared to Hillary, Hillary's can't go. I mean, she can't go into office. She's got to basically be eliminated out of any seat in our Congress, in my opinion, because the Bush-Clinton regimes have been in control for so long.
Right.
And that's the game. That's the people doing this. And Obama, just another one of their puppets. And people are actually seeing Trump as being a way out and away from that. Mm-hmm. And they've painted that picture. So yeah, it does. You're going to have people gravitate toward that. Period. Right. What's the better option? Period. The thing is this: with the military shifting, because Obama had a purge on the military, with the military shifting, and a lot of 88 generals going with Trump now today, you're seeing a division, and that's what they do. You're either Democrat or Republican. You're either left or you're right.
Right, and
they're breaking you down.
I agree.
The power is in the numbers and politics we address. That's directly from Pac.
It's very true. And I think because I've been, just hammering at the corruption, for the past few years to everyone I know, my family and my friends, just keep going at it. So obviously I've been resonating with Trump because of what he's saying and how you say that they need to make him look like the opposition, which, doing very well, obviously, and it does fit in with that Masonic letter from Robert Pike talking about.
He is a Mason. That's the problem.
Right.
And that's where it all falls apart. He's also related to Hillary Clinton by bloodline. Within 13 generations. Mm-hmm. When you see these things, it's rather obvious. This is why we say Illuminati, to kill this illusion, to kill this beast, to kill the system, and replace it with a righteous one of good people. The problem here is the people in our government, the senators, governors that have been bought out and have said to hell with our rights and our freedoms and have taken the money. Those people need replaced. Period. And the action has to start, with the people making moves.
Yeah, I totally agree. You got to switch places with the busters on top. It's another Pac quote right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know we're nearing up 40 minutes. Do you want to tell the viewers where they can find your work?
Yeah, we've got our website, undergroundworldnews.com. Mm-hmm. You can find me the Twitter handle at Dahboo7, DAHBOO7. We've got the Underground World News on Facebook. And I've got my two biggest channels on YouTube, Dahboo77 and Dahboo777.
All right, man. Yeah, and you can find out, he's got videos out all day long. He's constantly pumping out. So you guys go check him out, subscribe, we'll keep the truth going, keep the torch going, keep carrying it, and we'll keep fighting.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming. You have a good day.
Take care, Illuminati.
Yes, sir. Illuminati.
Much love.
Peace.